Hello everybody, and welcome to our layout tutorial for a refrigerator enclosure. And now this is a tutorial for how to make the enclosure around the refrigerator so that it looks more built in. Now keep in mind this tutorial is only for a freestanding style refrigerator, so this is more of a common refrigerator. This is not a built-in refrigerator. Notice the gap at the top. Okay. Most of these refrigerators are going to range in price from $1,200 to say like $2,400 to $2,600. If you get into those built-in refrigerators, those ones are going to cost you much more. Usually $4,000 all the way up to $10,000, $15,000 if you want to get ones with lights and some cool glass doors on them. It's pretty sweet. So anyway, this is pretty standard. This is going to be the ones that are most of our customers are going to be using. So this tutorial is very simple. I'm going to just kind of show you how to do this real quick. Taking a look at this, we have a wall two-door cabinet up above. We have two finished end panels dropping down to the floor, and they're basically going all the way up to the top of the wall two-door cabinet, down to the floor. And then we have a single horizontal rail. So you need four pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Two end panels, a cabinet, and a horizontal rail. Alright, so getting started, we need to find out exactly what refrigerator we're going to use. And now I picked one from GE's website, one that had a few reviews. And it's about $1,600. GE Energy Star. Looks like the most common refrigerator that they have on the market. Pretty much all over the place. This one's available. Go over and over here. I went to the website. I'm going to go to Quick Specs. Open this thing up. And there we go. So Quick Specs are what we need for this. You're going to need to get in there. And there's a few ideas you're going to need to look at here. First thing is the opening height, or the height of the door. And we're going to want the door height that's going to be A. We want A here. To the top of the hinge. Now obviously, I want the opening to be a little bit more than the top of the hinge. We always want there to be a space up there, and that's for multiple reasons. So let's just, our standard, the way we do it here, is we leave an inch above the hinge to the bottom of the cabinet, or to the bottom of the horizontal rail. Okay? So top of the cabinet height to the hinge is 69.5. We need 70.5 from the ground to the top, or to the bottom of our cabinets where we're starting. Okay? Let's get started. I already have this stuff put together, so I'm going to break this thing apart, and we're going to re-engineer this thing for you. Alright, making this thing real simple. I'm just going to pull the end panels off of here so we can kind of get down to the specs. Alright, there we go. Zooming in here, I got the wall two-door cabinet. I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that over here. We're going to start off with the horizontal rail, which is this piece right here. I'll show you where it is on the website real quick. It's pretty easy. Go to our cabinet, our website. Just go to tall cabinets. Scroll down here. Go to refrigerator enclosures. Then you're going to see all the different products. Currently, it's the very first one right here, horizontal rail. Click on that picture, and this is the piece we're going to be ordering here. First thing we're going to do is figure out how tall or how much opening height we need. Opening height is basically from the ground up. And we already determined that just a second ago by saying we needed exactly 70 and a half, I believe that was right. 70.5. There we go. That's my line. I'm just drawing this in. This is not an actual cabinet. Great. 70.5. That's where we need it to be. The bottom of this horizontal rail needs to be at 70.5. Okay. Easy to do that. Now what we need to do is figure out how wide this cabinet needs to be, or how wide our opening needs to be. So let's go back to our display here. Now the cabinet case right here is going to be, let's see here, we got H and G. So H. Door width with door open. Okay, so we're not covering the actual, we just need the cabinet case. We need a dimension G in this case. Okay, we need the case dimension from here to here. We really don't care too much about the doors when they're open because we're not going to be, this is not an inset application. We're just going to be covering the case of the cabinet, I'm sorry, the case of the refrigerator. So we need G, and let's look for G here, width 35 3/4. Okay. Real standard here, we add 1 inch to this dimension. So we want a 1/2 of an inch gap on the left side and a 1/2 of an inch gap on the right side. And that's going to help for installation when you're pushing that thing in there. You don't want it to be too tight. I've seen all kinds of problems with that. So just make sure you add 1 inch. So our opening width needs to be 36 3/4 of an inch. So let's go take a look at this thing. And we're going to make the opening width here, and I'll draw it in for you, 36 3/4. Perfect. I'm going to drop this thing down just a little bit. So that's great. So we got our two dimensions there. We already know what that is. Now as far as this horizontal rail is concerned, looking at it from top view, I'm going to use, in this example, I'm using one that's 5 5/8 of an inch in depth. Okay, so that's from front to back, 5 5/8 of an inch. Disregard the fact that it says 9/16 there. It's actually 5 5/8. All right, so from front to back, once you put the edge banding on it, which it's banded on the back edge and the front edge, it ends up being 5 5/8. So that's pretty much it. We got that piece in our position. We have our opening width, dimensions, and depth. Next thing we're going to want to do is take our wall two-door cabinet. I'm using a wall two-door cabinet this one. You could use a different style of cabinet if you wanted to. I'm using a wall two-door because that's the most common. The width of the wall two-door cabinet from left to right is going to be exactly the same as the one below it, exactly the same as our horizontal rail. 36 3/4. From left to right, 36 3/4. Pretty simple. All right, and that's it. So as far as height is concerned, let's get into that real quick. Now, without getting into a long tutorial about how crown molding works, I have a 96-inch ceiling height from the floor, of the top of the finished floor, to the bottom of our ceiling. I have 96 inches. Okay, so that's very important. You're going to want to see that. Now, I'm running these cabinets up to the ceiling because a lot of people have questions about, oh, how do I do crown molding to the ceiling? And it's pretty simple. You leave 4 inches above your cabinets, and then we'll talk about that in the crown molding tutorials of how to achieve or how to make your crown molding run into the ceiling and make it look correct. You're going to want to leave 4 inches space above your cabinets because most of our crown molding is going to be 3 inches tall, and you're going to want another 1 inch spacer block. I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm kind of getting off on a vector here. So that's pretty much it. As far as our depth is concerned of this upper cabinet, you can do anything from 26 inches from the back of from the wall to the face of the cabinet case, or you can go all the way up to 29. Okay, now let's take a look at one thing here, which is, it's not funny, but it's it's definitely something to look at here. The entire depth from from the back of this cabinet to the door, to the front of the door, is D. That's 32.5. That's a monster depth, and you might not. I would highly recommend not building your cabinet at 32.5, obviously, because you don't want to cover the edge of the door. Even on C, you have 28 inches. Okay, now you do have to leave a little bit of space behind here. Usually it's about an inch or two. So in this example, I would highly recommend using a 29-inch deep cabinet. You can go down from 26 to 29. It's really up to you. It depends on how much space you have to work with. In this example, I'm going to use a 29-inch cabinet because I'm going to try to cover as much of the side of the refrigerator as possible. Let me draw that in for you. Cabinet depth is 29 inches. There we go, on that wall two-door. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Now, last thing we need to do here, we got our wall two-door cabinet. We know the height, we know the width, we know the depth. It's 29. The end panels here, tall finished end panels. Let's go back to our website. Click on Barker cabinets, tall cabinets, refrigerator enclosures. Scrolling down, you have 3 different end panels to choose from. Highly recommend using the slab end panel. This one, it's just the most simple, it's the most common, and the most people order this one. That's pretty easy. Just a simple piece, real flat plywood, banded front edge, banded back edge. Now you'll be adding those onto the left and the right side, just like we're doing here. The height that you're going to want to look at is going to be 92 inches in this case, because I'm going to take from the floor of the tall finished end to the top of the finished end is going to be exactly 92 inches, leaving 4 inches of space so that my crown molding can wrap around the top of it and create a nice looking cabinet project. Now the depth from the back to the front, you would order your end panel depth at 29 5/8 of an inch. Remember, we have 5/8 of an inch increments when it comes to ordering our end panels. It's 29 5/8, and that's going to create a real nice flush look. So this is pretty much what it looks like without the refrigerator in there. And this is what it's going to look like after we render. I'm just going to do a 3D rendering here for you. The refrigerator's into the opening. This height, this isn't an inch. It'll actually be a little bit, you won't be able to see as much into the cabinet when everything's all put together. I only had this refrigerator in my CAD drawings. So anyway, but pretty much real nice looking cabinet here. Real simple, 4 pieces, end panel, horizontal rail, and then your upper wall two-door cabinet. And that's what it creates. Real cool thing about that, with our cabinets, since they're so easy to put together, all you got to do if you want to put something in here is you can throw in cabinets to the left and the right, and you don't need any spacers or any fillers or anything like that. You just basically add them in there, and that's pretty much it. There you go. And the colors are all off, but as you get an idea there. Wall cabinets the same way. You can run the wall cabinets right into the side of this. and even put a pantry to the left or right. There's been multiple customers that have done different ideas here. You know, they'll put stuff going to the left or right, pantry cabinets on this side. They'll even run it into a wall, and it's really up to you what you want to do. But yeah, possibilities are endless. If you have any further questions on any of this, feel free to give us a call. You have our phone number at our contact information. Thanks again, and have a great day.